Amanda Bynes is addressing criticism from fans, saying that she has a new look.
So I saw a couple of stories online that say I have a new look, and I was never open about this before, but I actually had blepharoplasty surgery on the skin folds in the corners of my eyes.
She was everywhere. Red carpets, teen magazines, Saturday morning TV. Amanda Bynes was the girl next door with comic timing that could outshine seasoned actors. From all that to She's the Man, she wasn't just a star, she was a phenomenon. Then almost overnight she was gone. No farewell tour, no final interview, just strange tweets, silence, and rumors. What happened to Amanda Bynes? The headlines blamed mental health, but the timeline is too messy and too quiet to ignore. Fans have long suspected something deeper.
What gets me through all of this is, remember when magazines were a thing before like the internet really? So the only way you'd be able to find out celebrity news is through magazines. Look at this title. Will Amanda's co-star crush lead to heartbreak? Amanda rubs his tummy. On-screen flame. Life imitates art.
A conservatorship that lasted nearly a decade claims she was being controlled, deleted posts, a gas station incident that barely made the news, and behind it all, whispers of an industry that doesn't just forget its stars, it buries them. Was Amanda just another celebrity who cracked under pressure, or did she see something she wasn't supposed to? The more you look, the less this feels like a breakdown, and the more it starts to look like a setup. Let's rewind and take a closer look.
And after she cleared up her new look, she posted another video explaining why she doesn't look good in paparazzi pictures.
And that's because paparazzi pictures are taken outside, and the sunlight is usually really harsh and bright on my skin.
Amanda Bynes began her career as a breakout star on Nickelodeon's All That, and quickly advanced to lead her own sketch series, The Amanda Show, a rarity for someone so young. Critics praised her comedic timing, and by her early teens, she had already earned the status of industry darling. Transitioning into films, she starred in a string of commercial successes like What a Girl Wants and She's the Man, which positioned her as a dependable box office lead. Unlike many young stars, she maintained a relatively clean image early on, earning the trust of both families and film studios.
Well, let me tell you something. You'll find as you get older, every stage is awkward. That's what. The older you get, you realize that it's awkward constantly, and it never stops being awkward.
Oh well, thanks for the.
It's a warning.
Executives hailed her as the next Lucille Ball or a female Jim Carrey, noting her expressive range and natural charisma. With significant financial success, press acclaim, and seemingly stable personal conduct, there was no public indication that her career trajectory would abruptly derail. But the first signs of conflict began behind the scenes, away from the camera, where decisions were being made about her image, her roles, and perhaps her future autonomy. As Amanda aged out of child roles, the industry's expectations shifted sharply.
And it was something that I was really happy and excited about. So I talked to a few friends and they all said to keep going. So we're going to continue the podcast, and we are filming next Friday as planned.
She was placed into increasingly sexualized roles despite her discomfort as studio executives pursued more provocative branding. Sources close to the actress reported she was pressured to lose weight, maintain a specific image, and accept roles that deviated from her original comedic persona. Films like Sydney White and Easy A cast her in characters that felt performative rather than authentic, and reports suggested Bynes was growing disillusioned. She allegedly voiced her concerns about typecasting and the pressure to conform to Hollywood beauty standards, but those concerns were often dismissed or manipulated as signs of difficult behavior.
And you're so talented, you know, and your show is still running on Nickelodeon.
Forever, for the rest of my life, I think that will be running. It's so embarrassing, because like I was in such an awkward stage of my life, and so who wants their awkward stage like broadcast, like, oh, you know.
By this point, Amanda's public image no longer reflected her internal experience. She had little control over her narrative or personal direction. The entertainment machine that built her up now demanded submission to a system where dissent is penalized, and for Bynes, that penalty would soon become very real. In 2012 and 2013, Amanda Bynes became the focus of a media storm. Erratic tweets, strange public appearances, and run-ins with the law quickly became tabloid fodder. The public watched, entertained, or horrified as Bynes' behavior became more unpredictable.
It's like the life imitates art all the way up here to like the little red box that has like more detail to this little box, but their off-screen action is even steamier, as Channing and Amanda proved while together in New York City on March 17th.
Reports of her wearing wearing wigs in court, starting Twitter feuds with celebrities, and setting fire to a stranger's driveway dominated headlines. But while the media portrayed these events as personal collapse, very little attention was given to what may have caused such a dramatic shift. Mental health professionals called for compassion, but the prevailing narrative painted her as another young celebrity who lost it. In 2013, Amanda was placed under a temporary conservatorship by her parents. At the time, many believed it was for her own good, but others questioned the speed and secrecy with which the arrangement occurred.
So I wanted to post something about how I felt last night after I made a post that we were pausing the podcast. I felt really sad and I was like in a really bad mood because the podcast was actually something that I was really looking forward to filming next week.
Behind the memes and ridicule, a real question lingered. Was Amanda's downfall a mental break, or was it something that had been building, unnoticed and ignored for years? While Britney Spears' conservatorship attracted global attention and protest movements, Amanda Bynes' situation was handled quietly, almost suspiciously so. Few outlets covered the details of her court hearings, and the public remained largely unaware of the terms. Under this arrangement, Bynes lost control of her finances, her personal life, and her medical decisions. Some fans began scrutinizing her social media presence, noting that posts appeared generic, impersonal, and perhaps managed by handlers. When she attempted to speak out about her situation, the responses felt filtered or pre-approved. The court continued to extend her conservatorship without much scrutiny, and while headlines claimed she was getting better, there was no independent verification of her well-being. Unlike Britney, Amanda had no high-profile legal team or media advocates. She was effectively erased from both the industry and the public conversation. The deeper one looks, the more this conservatorship resembles a silencing mechanism rather than a support system, raising questions that few in the media seemed willing to explore. In 2022, Amanda Bynes' conservatorship was officially terminated after nearly 9 years. At first glance, the news seemed to indicate closure, a positive end to a difficult chapter. She released a statement thanking fans for their support and said she was looking forward to regaining her independence. However, despite her newfound legal freedom, Amanda remained absent from public life. There were no comeback projects, no red carpet appearances, and no clear plans for the future. Interviews were non-existent. The silence was deafening. Rumors began to surface that she was still being privately monitored or restricted in other ways. Despite requests for transparency, there were no details from her team or family. Independent journalists and fans began raising concerns that the end of the conservatorship may have been more procedural than liberating. With no firm evidence of her autonomy and no public appearances to confirm her condition, many began to question whether Amanda was ever truly freed, or whether the narrative of freedom was simply a new version of the same old silence. In March 2023, Amanda Bynes was found wandering the streets of Los Angeles without clothes, reportedly coming down from a psychotic episode. According to emergency responders, she flagged down a vehicle and called 911 herself. She was placed under a psychiatric hold for several days. Strangely, this incident barely made national news, receiving only a fraction of the attention her earlier controversies did. There was no official update from family or representatives, no press conference, no medical follow-up, and shortly after, the story vanished. For an event so alarming, one that involved serious mental health concerns, public exposure, and emergency services, the lack of follow-through was suspicious. Some observers suggested this was intentional, meant to avoid reigniting questions about Amanda's long-term care or the effectiveness of her post-conservatorship support system. Whatever the truth may be, the incident cast a troubling shadow over claims that she was doing better. It raised the possibility that Amanda was not being protected, but simply hidden. Amanda Bynes' story is not unique. In fact, it closely mirrors the trajectory of numerous other stars who rose to fame quickly, expressed dissatisfaction with their roles or handlers, and then suddenly experienced public breakdowns followed by legal silencing. Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, Shia LaBeouf, even male actors like Ezra Miller and Orlando Brown have followed eerily similar patterns. Fame is not the issue, it's what comes with it. The entertainment industry has long been accused of enabling abuse, punishing non-compliance, and burying those who resist. Theories about trauma-based mind control, elite grooming, and blacklisting have circulated for years, fueled by cryptic tweets and interviews from affected celebrities. Amanda once tweeted that her father committed unspeakable acts, only to delete it hours later and claim she'd been under mind control. That tweet was never fully addressed or investigated. Whether one believes in deeper conspiracies or not, the recurring theme is hard to ignore. The entertainment industry protects its interests, and those those who threaten that protection often disappear, either physically or from the narrative. Amanda Bynes' career was closely linked with producer Dan Schneider, a controversial figure who quietly left Nickelodeon in 2018 amid allegations of inappropriate behavior toward young stars. While no formal charges have been filed, many former cast members, including those from The Amanda Show, have hinted at strange or uncomfortable interactions. Bynes has never directly accused Schneider, but her behavior after leaving Nickelodeon suggests something deeply unsettling happened behind closed doors. Her abrupt retirement from acting in 2010, at the height of her fame, was never explained in detail. Fans believe she may have kept evidence of misconduct, including private video footage, that has since vanished. If Amanda saw or experienced something she wasn't supposed to, her spiral begins to look less like a breakdown and more like a cover-up. The entertainment industry has a long history of protecting its power players and silencing those who threaten exposure. The lack of formal investigation into Amanda's claims, combined with her isolation and erratic reappearances, only deepens the suspicion that her story was suppressed by design. Amanda Bynes may have been one of the first major stars to raise red flags about the entertainment machine that built her. Her erratic behavior, far from being random, may have been the result of years of manipulation, trauma, and suppression. The conservatorship model, the media's selective coverage, and the eerie silence that now surrounds her all point toward a system that does not tolerate deviation or dissent. If Amanda was forced into silence, the question becomes, who else has been silenced and why? Her current absence from public life may not be peace. It may be a form of protection, or worse, control. As the public continues to demand transparency from powerful institutions, Amanda Bynes' story serves as a chilling reminder that not all disappearances are accidental, some are orchestrated, and while the headlines may have moved on, the unanswered questions remain. For every Amanda, there may be others, and the industry still hasn't offered an honest explanation.